Very grateful to that. The mayor is saying no. At the very beginning, when the Muslim community went to you and they asked you to sign on, and you said, you know what, let me take a little time, okay, let me study the issue. You looked at the reports, you looked at the studies, and you made another phone call, and you said, you know what, you guys right. Okay, you really deserve this holiday. And you signed on, and you became a big sponsor, and you were one of the outspoken people for this legislation. So now, why do you think the mayor is reluctant to sign on? Was he in the same circumstances as you were? He has to study it a little more? Is he a little busy? What do you think?
Well, I hope so. I mean, you're absolutely, you just summed it up perfectly, actually. I don't even have to say anything because you explained everything. But one of the great things about the Muslim community is the advocates you have, including yourself. I mean, you came to my office on this issue, and I was on the fence on the issue. Because I have 2 kids in public school, as you said, and I'm a dad who likes to spend the summer with my daughters. And I just assumed, look, this is going to be too many days off, and then they're going to have to make those days up because there's a law, there's a certain amount of days, and they'll take away the summer, and I won't spend any time with my kids. But you came in more than one occasion with many, many members of the Muslim community, explained to me how this could actually be done and why it should be done. Main reason being the fact that Muslims kids make up over 10% of our school population. One of the things the mayor is worried about is that
one out of every 8 student, basically.
Is it even more?
Correct.
Well, one of the things the mayor is worried about now is, if we do it for this community, we'll have to do it for every other community, and then we'll have no summer vacation. But, you guys convinced me that if another group has more than 10% of the population, and 1 out of 8, we'll worry about it then. It's not a concern. Maybe you can do it for groups that have over 10% of the population. There are ways to get around every problem that I thought existed and that he still thinks existed. But I think the point is you guys just have such great advocates, including yourself. You came to me, you changed my mind. I became a huge supporter, and I think we'll get it done with the mayor, hopefully.
Yeah, I think he will change his mind.
And you said I supported him, and I did, and I have a lot of disagreements with the mayor, but I think overall he's done a great job, but especially as we discussed earlier with public safety. When I endorsed him 4 years ago, I was public safety chair then, I am now, and I did it because I wanted to continue to work with Ray Kelly for another 4 years, because I knew he would continue to win the war on crime. And I was right. Crime had been down something like 10% in the first 4 years, and it's down another 15 or even 17% in the last 4 years. So that's why I endorsed him, because it's a safe street. Safe street's the most important aspect of our lives. If we don't have them, we can't have schools. We can't have senior centers, thriving economy, cultural centers. And he's done such an amazing job on public safety that I think he and Ray Kelly have earned the right for another 4 years.
So you get very good reasons for why people should vote for Mayor Bloomberg. Now, give me a reason. Give me the reasons for yourself, because you're running for election. So, what do you say for yourself?
That's a tougher one. But, I've worked really, really hard, and I think the objective results show that. I have passed more legislation than any other legislator, most of them on the environment, like the plastic bag recycling bill. I banned trans fats, many of them on graffiti, making our laws even tougher. I have brought more money back to this community and more services than any other council member. And I want to continue to work on the 3 things that are most important to me, and I believe that are most important to our community: public safety, the environment, and our schools. We've made a lot of progress in those 3 areas, and I want to continue to do that for another 4 years. Term limits has been extended from 8 to 12. It hasn't been eliminated. It was just extended from 8 to 12, which gives me the honor and the privilege to run again for one last term. And I've got so many projects going on. I've got a rezoning of Astoria that will stop overdevelopment here in Astoria, allow it to retain its character, which I started 5 years ago and which won't be finished for another year. I've got projects like...
But that's extremely difficult when you have a growing community. I mean, your community is really growing all over.
That's why it hasn't happened yet.
And you have people. It's almost like you ask anyone in Russia, Astoria. I mean, you ask anybody in Egypt, Astoria. I mean, it's almost all around the world. Everyone knows where Astoria is, and you have the whole world living in your district. So the community is growing. Your district is growing. So how are you going to balance that?
That's exactly what we've been working on for so long now, and we've come up with a way to do it. We want to allow development in certain areas of Astoria. We want to allow the major strips, 31st Street, Steinway Street, those areas, at 30th Avenue, to continue to be developed, 21st Street. But we don't want to see, like on 25th Street right now, Crescent Street, right off Astoria Boulevard, you have two-family house, this 12-story thin mini tower that's going up, and then another two-family house, and that kind of out-of-context development can't happen. We want to allow for development because of all the people who want to come to the greatest neighborhood in the world, but we want to make sure that that development is in the same character that exists now. So if you build a new house on a row of two-family houses, now the front yards are going to have to match up. You can't go all the way out to the street when every other house is 10 feet off the street. Right. You'll be able to put another story on your house. You won't be able to make a skyscraper on a block where there's two-family houses. Yes. Other areas will allow for much greater zoning where we want to have some development, but most of the residential areas are going to only allow in-character development. We've been working on it for years now, getting out into every community, defining exactly what's the best for that, what's best for that block, what's best for this area. Right now, below Grand Central is what's called an R6, where you can build anything you want. Nobody thinks that's appropriate. So this will be the first major rezoning since 1961. You weren't even born then. But it's one of the projects that takes a long, long time, and I would like to be around to continue to get that done, to keep Astoria. The reason, I mean, there's a reason everyone likes Astoria, and then everyone wants to come here is because it's the neighborhood it is, and it's not Manhattan, and we don't want it to turn into Manhattan.
Exactly. So now you have your area full of restaurants from every place on this planet. People leave actually Manhattan to come here to Astoria, so where they can have Thai food, they have Greek food, they have Italian food, they have every single food that you could ever imagine. And so Astoria is famous with that. It's famous with culture and arts and the studios, of course. But at the same time, it's also famous with the L, with the 31st Street overpass for the trains. Is there any plans in the future to knock this down and have it underground?
You know, there probably should be, but there's not. And the problem with that elevated train station is that it was built in the early 1900s with 19th century technology. It is crumbling now around us. Outside my office, they've been working on fixing falling bricks now for about 2 years because these bricks could have killed somebody. Outside my office, the cars are being hit by what's called creosote, which is a tar-like substance, which is dripping off the tracks and destroying people's paint jobs. There's still no disabled access in the entire length of the N train right now. I've been working with the MTA to try to get that. It's an old, antiquated system. They've got to keep it. If they're not going to knock it down and put it underneath the ground, which would cause some serious disruptions if they ever decided to do that on 31st Street. You know, when these people have to make a living. If they're not going to do that, they've got to keep it, they've got to use maybe some stimulus funds, they've got to keep it working. One of the things I'm trying to do with those stimulus funds is the Hellgate Bridge, too. Yes. It was painted, my father worked with Senator Moynihan 20, 30 years ago, I don't even remember, to get it painted. Moynihan loved this color, it was some sort of lavender color, which it was painted. It looked nice when it was painted, but the paint company is out of business now. They used defective paint, and if you go to the Hellgate Bridge now, it's 3 shades of pink. It looks like something out of maybe a Dr. Seuss book. And this is one of the most beautiful bridges in the world, I think. Right. When they did the Olympics in Sydney, Australia, there was a bridge that looks just like the Hellgate. That was the focal point of the entire Olympics. Here we've got it 3 shades of lavender and pink and all these different colors. Let's get it repainted. And not only that, if you don't repaint it, it rusts and it gets dangerous. So they're just not doing the maintenance on the bridges, whether it be the Federal Bridge like the Hellgate or the 31st Street train station that we need.
Councilman Peter Vallone Jr., thank you so much for being with us. And thank you all very much for watching. Keep watching Our World Today with Moustafa Elshiekh.